welcome everybody out to First Baptist Church of Maynardville this morning. I hope everybody's had a good morning. Thank you all for coming out. I'd like to welcome everybody that's viewing online this morning. I'm going to go over the announcements this morning. I'm going to try to get through them fairly quick and give as much time for the service as we possibly can this morning. And if I miss something, please correct me or add to it or whatever we need to do. If you had your bulletins, you'd like to follow along with me, I'm just going to jump right into the announcements that we've got. Today there will be a youth picnic at 5 o'clock over at Big Ridge. And Hannah, do you need to say anything about that?
Even though there are a lot of picnic tables, just for your comfort, if you have some volunteers, you probably want to bring those.
Okay, so if you, I hope everybody heard that. Bring a couple chairs if you've got some or whatever. But 5 o'clock over at Big Ridge. Is that in one of the pavilions, Hannah? Okay, so the larger covered pavilion up on the hill. Also, there'll be a baby sprinkling for Hannah Richardson after church at 2:30, and it's going to be a girl. So she's registered at Target, and that's this afternoon prior to or before the picnic. And then also today is going to be kind of a special service. Zoe and Leah, they're going to get to share about their mission trip. And remember, these two girls, they're nervous. I know Zoe's nervous this morning. I told her, it's hard to speak in front of a group of people, but we're all friends and family here. So just be remembering these girls. They had a great trip. And then also, please send any grandparent photos to Brooke Simpson. Her number and contact information is there in the bulletin. And then Jeff Cruz from the International Mission Board will be our church service on Wednesday, August the 31st at 7 p.m. All youth are encouraged to attend. And then the last announcement is on September the 9th at 9 a.m. Bible release time, and for volunteer training. I'm sorry. Did I miss anything? That's kind of quick, but did I miss anything this morning? 920 was the Christmas offering. I'm glad you done that, Cheryl. I was sitting here trying to get that. Yeah. Anyway, is there any other announcements that I've overlooked this morning? All right. Is there any other announcements this morning that I've overlooked? If not, we'll take prayer requests this morning before we go to the Lord in prayer.
Don't forget Roy.
Yeah, let's remember Roy.
Remember Greg Wyrick? His dad passed away.
Yes, just remember that family. Is there any others? If not, Brother Mark, will you lead us this morning?
Lord, in this service today, be our pastor, he brings a message. All the prayer requests, Lord, we ask your blessings on these families. Lord, we ask you to let us carry on, have a safe day at Big Ridge Park this evening. Thank you, that's in Jesus' name, amen.
Was there any birthdays this past week?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear friends. Happy birthday to you. May God bless and keep you. May God bless and keep you. May God bless you and keep you. May God bless and keep you.
Let's turn in our red hymnal and sing Will You Meet Me Over Yonder, 196.
Forever.
Wait, you still have 92 in there? Go to 92. Sing one they know good. Of course, that works a few people more. I once was lost in sin, but Jesus took me in, and then a little light from heaven filled my soul. It bathed my heart in love and wrote my name above, and just a little talk with Jesus made me whole. Have a little talk with Jesus, tell him all about our troubles, hear our faintest cry, answer by and by. Feel a little prayer wheel turning, know a little fire is burning. Find a little talk with Jesus makes it right. Sometimes my path seems drear without a ray of cheer, and then a cloud of doubt may hide the light of day. The mist of sin may rise and hide the starry skies, but just a little talk with Jesus clears the way. Have a little talk with Jesus, tell him all about our troubles, hear our faintest cry, answer by and by. Feel a little prayer wheel turning, know a little fire is burning. Find a little talk with Jesus makes it right. I may have doubts and fears, my eyes may fill with tears, but Jesus is the friend who watches day and night. I come to him in prayer, he knows my every care, and just a little talk with Jesus makes it right. Have a little talk with Jesus, tell him all about our troubles, hear our faintest cry, answer by and by. Feel a little prayer wheel turning, know a little fire is burning. Find a little talk with Jesus makes it right. That won't it be wonderful? If you know, we'll do one thing. 358? Or do you want to get in here? Okay, you sure? You may have to so. Let's go ahead, let's stand and sing Won't It Be Wonderful There? When with the Savior we enter the glory land, won't it be wonderful there? Ended the troubles and cares of the story, won't it be wonderful there? Won't it be wonderful there? Having no burdens to bear, joyously singing with heart bells all ringing, oh won't it be wonderful there? Walking and talking with Christ the supernal, won't it be wonderful there? Praising, adoring the matchless eternal, won't it be wonderful there? Won't it be wonderful there? Having no burdens to bear, joyously singing with the heart bells all ringing, oh won't it be wonderful there? There where the tempest will never be sweeping, won't it be wonderful there? Sure that forever the Lord will be keeping, won't it be wonderful there? Won't it be wonderful there? Having no burdens to bear, joyously singing with heart bells all ringing, oh won't it
going to try and sing. The first song will be Sweet Beulah Land. I do ask that you pray as I sing, because I always need the Lord whenever I stand to sing. Of course, I need Him all the time. I don't mean that. But standing up here, the choir's easier. You can sing because you got help. And now you got the real help. Pray for me while I try and sing Beulah Land. I'm kind of homesick for a country to which I've never been before. No sad goodbyes will there be spoken, for time won't matter anymore. Beulah Land, I'm longing for you, and someday on thee I'll stand. There my home will be eternal. Beulah Land, sweet Beulah Land. I'm looking now across the river to where my face gonna end in sight. There's just a few more days to labor, and I will take my heavenly flight. Beulah Land, I'm longing for you, and someday on thee I'll stand, and there my home will be eternal. Beulah Land, sweet Beulah Land. Thank you. Ray, you ever lose anything? Well, no, not your mind. That don't count. That doesn't count. I had the music to this, and I looked, and there's 2 or 3 versions with different words, and you know which ones I found. Not this one, so that's why Cheryl sat down. But this is like a testimony, and it's every hour and every day, and it should be all of our testimony. But pray real hard while I sing this, okay? Once in the stillness of the late midnight hour, I felt the presence of the Lord's saving power. I fell on my knees and I cried to Him there, "Oh, mercy merciful Savior, hear a lost sinner's prayer. Will every hour and every day and every moment in every way, I'm leaning on Jesus. He's the rock of my soul. I'm singing his praises wherever I go. I'll never forget that night on my knees. The joy of that hour has never left me. It's life's sweetest memory that time can't erase. I'm saved by his mercy, redeemed by his grace. And every hour and every day and every moment in every way, I'm leaning on Jesus, the rock of my soul. I'm singing his praises wherever I go. Finger about on your nose all the way from up here, you know. He was tall. I was sitting right back there where you were. And there wasn't no way I could sit in a pew when they gave the invitation. It was over because the Lord had been working too hard on me.
Amen. Good morning, everybody. Appreciate those songs today. It's been good to be in God's house already today. And we're thankful that you're here with us this morning, and thank the Lord for those that are watching as well and viewing online. I do have just a brief little announcement I want to make, kind of go over just a minute before Zoe and Leah come, and you pray for them. Looking forward to them coming and sharing what God done while they were in Honduras and how he used them. Wednesday night, Jeff Cruz is going to be coming, and Jeff is, he works for International Mission Board, and we met Jeff at the youth conference this past January, February. What he's in business of doing is anyone that is a high school age student or a college age student and that are interested in going on mission trips, he can get you plugged into a group that will be going, and they go to several different countries. Argentina is one, Chile, Germany, Kosovo, Mexico, Norway, Poland, Portugal, South Africa, Spain. There's several others, but if I encourage you, if you would, if you're a high school age or a college age student, you are interested and would like to go on a mission trip international, come and be with us on Wednesday night. Jeff Cruz will have a lot of good information to share and talk about that. So keep that in mind, remember that, and keep that in prayer. At this time, I'm going to ask Zoe and Leah if they would come and share this morning what the Lord has laid on their heart, and you pray for them.
Enough to get to go to serve the people of Honduras. And first, we just want to start with thanking the church and everybody who helped us go. And I definitely want to thank the church for giving me money to be able to go. And it was really an experience.
Yeah. I guess to start off, we're going to start with a little bit of a backstory on what got us into the trip. So my cousin Lauren had texted me and asked if I wanted to go with them on a trip in December. And I was like, oh, I mean, obviously I'd love to go. I wasn't sure financially if I could make that work. And then I got grant money from Pellissippi from about $1,500, which basically covered my whole trip. So after that, I texted Zoe and I was like, hey, I'm gonna go to Honduras with a group, and do you want to go? Love to go surf with you. And I think she was a little bit skeptical at first. If you want to talk about that.
So I remember I was like, I woke up and I looked at my phone and Leah had texted me and was like, hey, do you want to go to Honduras in December? And I was like, I don't think she meant to send this to me. I was like, she's got the wrong person, I guess. And so I thought about it and I was like, well, yeah, I mean, I would really like to go. And so kind of just from there
Yeah, so then Lauren and Amy came and talked to the church about going, and they're like, yeah, we're going to go in July.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
not December. It was just a couple of months to prepare for that. So I was a little bit nervous, but I mean, we had a great time, and I'm very thankful for the opportunity to go. But we're looking at going back in March, and I wanted to throw this out here before we get started that if anyone's interested in going on that trip, please come talk to us about it. We would love to have the church come with us. But so we got there on a Sunday. We flew in Monday, and then we came home on a Sunday. And a typical week in Honduras, you leave on Saturday and come back Friday. And so our week was a little bit different. We started off kind of slow, and we were a little bit like, what are we getting ourselves into? We talked about it. We were sitting on the patio doing a devotional after the first night, and we were like, okay, this is really different. This isn't what we expected at all. But as the week went on, we were like, okay, this is why we're here. We know we're supposed to be here. Let's just figure out how we can, how God wants to use us while we're here. But I wanted to start with the mission statement of Hope Through Him and kind of what they're about. And so if you look up their website, they have all this information, but it says that they want to meet the physical and spiritual needs of the hurting and hungry around them, to build relationships and point them to where they can truly find their hope, which is in Jesus. And can you start with La Mesa?
So the following day, that Tuesday, we did La Mesa, and that was that night. And La Mesa just translates to the table, and so they invite everybody to come sit around the table. And one of their big things is that they want these people to feel like there's somebody, like we know them. And can you start the pictures? Thank you. And so they give everybody who's in line a name tag. So I have my name tag here, if everybody can see it. You get your name tag, and then they just put your name on it. So that way you can go around and talk to these people, and you can greet them by their name. And so this was what they ate that night. What was that? It was like hibachi.
This is our like Chinese rice.
That was
they serve it with a tortilla.
That was like, I was like, what have I gotten into? Like we were taking plates everywhere.
Yeah.
And so that was a very enjoyable night. You got to meet a lot of different people and a lot of different families, and at first they were coming for the meal, but over time they got to where they were coming to hear the message that Brad and Alex were preaching to them, and they're able to build relationships from that.
So after La Mesa, I guess Wednesday morning we went to a village called Campo Llano, and Campo Llano is like, obviously they're still living in poverty, but they kind of have a range of people and all kinds of things. They actually have a school building, and where they can come and they have a meal every day given to all the children there. They have a teacher and everything like that. In that picture, that's the little girl. Her name's Bianca. I love her. We played Jenga for like 2 hours straight. But we had a good time there. We went to a couple villages and we did a vacation Bible school for them. I was taking their pictures for that. Zoe had a different experience with them. She was actually doing the craft with the kids. But we were there and hung out with those kids for a little while. One of the things I wanted to mention about that is when we drive into those villages on our bus, like all the kids are just sitting there waiting on us to pull in. They just want you to get off the bus and give you a big old hug and greet you into their community, which was really cool. Anything to add to that?
So then, later that afternoon we went to the Dream Center. That was Sophie at Campo, and she was very full of personality. She took up with me pretty big. But after Campo, we went to the Dream Center and did the same thing with the soccer boys. So, our craft was a little bit different, but we got to work with them, and they're an amazing group of kids that Brad and Christy are able to help. So then that next day we went to another village called June 22, and that was way different from Campo. It was just this open field. They haven't been able to start on their building yet, and so you pull up there, and there's a few kids who are waiting. That was Cecia, and she as well as the other kids, as soon as they see you coming, they take off running. I mean, they know who you are. They don't know you, but they know what you're there for, and that they take off running to come, and they want to play with you, and they're excited to see you and see what you brought and what you're going to do with them that day. So we did the same thing there. We played around with them. We played kickball and all this other stuff, and then we did our craft, and then me and Leah were able to walk around the village and see some of the houses there.
Yeah, to add to June 22, so a couple years ago there was 2 Category 4 hurricanes that hit right on top of June 22 and just wiped them out completely. So they're in the process of building their village back, and they're trying to put them on the stilts, kind of like what you see at the beach. Obviously, a less fancy version of that, but that's their goal there. And to get back onto the Dream Center for a second, their program is to get these kids off the streets and to plug them into a community where they're not in gangs or having to work when they're 8 years old or getting like beat up by their families. They're trying to bring them into a community where they have accountability with each other, build them to be strong men of Christ. And so the Dream Center has a soccer program, and that's kind of how you get involved. These kids have a tryout. They start when they're little, and they slowly, as they get older, they're doing more things. They're serving the community with Brad and Christy, and they have to stay in school past like elementary school essentially, in order to stay in the program, and they have to serve and do all these other things. So they're kind of picked and chosen to be in the Dream Center. But so those kids are very like dedicated in wanting to serve with us and see what we're about, how they can help us, see if they have a future other than just kind of go to the plantations, because that's what their dad does. But that's all I wanted to add to that. Okay, so on Friday we had prep day for serve day. So we were there for serve week. That was the theme essentially for the whole week. And prep day was a little bit chaotic. There was so much to get done. We had to write all these encouragement cards to the police departments and firefighters, teachers, nurses, all these things, make the signs for the carnival on serve day. And while we were there, Zoe can talk about this a little bit, but there was a woman that was trying to come in.
So the woman came to the door, and she thought that she seen the people gathered inside the building, and she thought that we were holding a medical crusade. And when she came to the door, she complained she was having chest pains, and Brad and Christy's daughter, Shelby, she's a doctor, so she went to the door and she was talking to the lady, and this lady had this folder in her hand, and she let Shelby look at the folder, and inside, Shelby seen like all this paperwork, and she asked her where she was going, and the lady told her that she was trying to get to the airport to pick up her son. A few weeks before that, there had been a tractor trailer found in San Antonio. I'm sure some of you guys heard it on the news. There had been like 70 immigrants trying to cross the border, and like 50 of them had died, and just a few of them had survived and were trying to get out. And her son was one of the ones that had survived, and then he got taken to the hospital and later died at the hospital, and his body was just then getting run back home, and she was going to pick him up, and she walked in, and she was just this sweet woman, and I mean, I can't even imagine what she was going through, and I think she was still trying to process it, and you could just see the hurt that she was going through and the pain. So that was the Friday where we were trying, and that was early. We had just got there while that happened, so
yeah, that
all day.
That kind of changed the whole vibe for the day.
Did, yeah.
We were kind of like, okay, those people really trust Brad and Christy,
Yeah.
and they know that Brad and Christy are willing to help them do anything. So they paid for her taxi to the airport and gave her a little bit of money to bring her son back across the border, because he had already been embalmed, and that's just an expensive process. And then so after that, we all prayed over her, and you could really just feel the Spirit around us for the rest of the day there. So I guess I'll go on into Serve Day. So Serve Day was the community volunteers. They talk about this for a really long time, and the community volunteers to come and help serve the community in all these different ways. So we didn't really know where we would get sent until that morning. And so me and Zoe both got sent to the hospital there. And the hospital is whatever you're thinking it looks like, it's like 100 times worse.
That was the picture of the children's ward that we were sent to, and it was literally a hallway, and that room held all 5 children that were there. And it was, I mean, it was like something you can't even imagine.
It's very
really.
rundown,
Yeah.
very, it's just not what you think it would be. They do have a private hospital, but obviously nobody in the city of El Progreso can afford to go there. So they all get sent here, and there's people just all over the place just wanting to receive medical care of some sort. But so we got sent to the hospital. We missed our bus to get there, so Brad had to drive us. And we get there, Brad has to leave, and we realize we don't have a translator. So we're in a foreign country in a really rundown hospital with nobody that speaks English besides us. And so we were like, okay, this is going good so far. And then we like meet up with some of these other people, and we recognize one of them. She was the teacher at June 22, but she only spoke Spanish. So we were trying to communicate best we could. It just wasn't working. And so at the hospital, me and Elizabeth, one of the other girls, got to go around with some of the volunteers from the city and give out little New Testaments and cards that Shelby had written to the nurses there. And we took those all over to the hospital and gave those out to them. And they're very appreciative of that. But I think Zoe had a different experience at the hospital. I went into the children's ward, and that's really just heartbreaking, seeing those children there. But she never got to go in. We realized shortly after that they didn't want white people in their hospital. So that was a little different. There was the 5 of us, and she was trying to give out encouragement cards, and they were just kind of like, oh, we don't really want you here. And then we also didn't have international service, so we missed our bus, didn't have a service, we couldn't call anybody, and so we were just sitting there waiting in their waiting room like, how do we get home?
Yeah, that's all we could think of is how are we going to get back? We didn't know.
Because their hospital's not in a great part of town, and when they see white people, they're like, oh, like, what are you doing here? We don't want you here. And so that was different. But I think this is kind of to go back to the beginning. We didn't know really what we were supposed to be doing when we got here, and I think it was really important for us to realize that we were just there to plant seeds and build relationships with all these people, to help them trust us and see that, like, you can't be perfect all the time. You don't have to be. Jesus will love you regardless, and each day is a new day. And that really helped us. It bettered my relationship with the Lord, things like that.
So I think especially like you said, going back to the beginning, but then especially we were at the hospital, we were kind of sitting there thinking, like, this isn't for us, like, this is not a place where we need to be, like, you know, we're just more in the way. And then kind of after we got back, we kind of reflected a little bit and realized that, you know, maybe we felt like we were in the way, but at the same time, just us sitting there handing out a card, you know, you don't know what that meant to somebody or how they was going back and telling their family or their friends. And so we realized, you know, God works in ways that you just don't understand at first, but, you know, in the end, there's a bigger plan. So
after we got back from the hospital, we had a carnival for all the kids and everything to come back and enjoy. And we were talking to some of our other, like, team members from Oklahoma, and they were like, oh, we went to the firehouse department, whatever. They showed us how they do all this fun stuff, and they were just laughing and cracking up for a couple hours, and we were just sitting there in a lonely hospital, like, why didn't we go to the fire department? But they rode in the truck and everything, and Abby, one of the translators, was recording it, and they shot the hose and it hit her right in the face. And she had that on video. But this is at the carnival in some of these pictures. So that's Lauren and Logan, Shelby's husband. They were playing, I think, the Cupid Shuffle, trying to teach them how to do that.
in every village we went to, that's what we did. We taught them all the Cupid Shuffle, and they loved that.
Yeah, and the Cupid Shuffle is not translated in Spanish anywhere. You can't find it in Spanish at all. So we're just holding these kids like dancing. They're like, okay. That little boy was Juan Jose. He was in the hospital. I don't know what he was in there for. I think he was 3 years old, terminally ill. There really wasn't much we could talk about with them. The one holding the peace sign in that picture is Claudia. She's the teacher at June 22, and then that's Elizabeth next to me. But honestly, it was a really great experience. If y'all have any questions, feel free to ask. But I would love to go back, and I would love for you guys to come back with us. There's 2 trips in March. They're around the spring break time, if anyone would be interested in doing that. If I don't have the answers for you, I can find somebody that does. Do you have anything else to add?
In the picture, that was just the dog. If any of you guys know Lauren, Leah's cousin, that's Lauren. That was in this dog's.
Yeah, it was like 100 degrees, and she's wearing a dog costume.
But
Going around.
on top of going back in March, I think one of the things I kind of worried about when I thought about going was that, you know, maybe I'm too young to go, but you're not, and you're not too old to go. There's something for you to do there, and they're going to make sure that they find something for you to do there, and it's really a trip that will change your life, honestly. And I know it did for me, and it meant a lot, you know, going and getting to stay with family and getting to be there and share those experiences.
Yeah, and I think it's important to add that, like, we thought we were going to be going in and really out of our comfort zone, having to go into these people's homes and just tell them about Jesus, something that we've never done before. And then we realized, like, this is about building relationships. So if you're scared to go and do that, that's not 100% what you're doing. I mean, you might get brought on to do that if you feel connected with this person or whatever, but it's nothing like stressful or hard, or it's just you being yourself and going to love on these kids and their families, and you know what comes out of that does. But it's a great trip, and I think Honduras, it was my first mission trip, but I think it's a great place for a starter to go as well. I know Lauren's gone to the Philippines and roughed it for 3 or 4 months, and that's great if that's what you want to do as well. But for anyone that would be interested in going, I think it would be a great first trip.
So we will answer any questions that anybody has or anything.
We got in contact with one of the interns that came by, and she called Brad, and Brad came back and picked us up. There's like 8 of us in his truck, and we were like, we just want to go back. Get us back.
I think you could go going and representing First Baptist Church in a good way that you did. Thank you for going for it.
We were glad we got the opportunity to go, and you know, very thankful I have a church who supports me and stuff like this.
I noticed y'all like that food. You had 2 plates.
The pictures you seen were at Leah's plates. I didn't eat all that.
I thought the food was great, but Zoe ate like nothing the whole week we were there.
I was ready to get back for the food.
Yeah, she got her snacks at the server car and was like, I'll be good for the night. Yeah. No, you can be any age. One of the girls that went with us from the Oklahoma City team, she was 5 years old when she went the first time with her dad, and then we've had people, elders and everything go. So it doesn't matter what age you are, or like if you're in school or anything like that. You can just get into contact with us, and I can plug you in, or Hope Through Him Ministries is who we went with, and they're posting all the time when they're going. They go a lot in the summer. They have a lot of teams more in the summer. But if there's like a week specifically that you're like, I can make that work, I want to go, they will make it work for you, and they'll get a team there. You just need your passport and plane ticket, and then you'll get there. Yeah, absolutely. We would love for you to go back with us.
So the house that you stay in while you're there, it's probably really not like what you're thinking. You're not roughing it at all.
No, it's a mission house in a gated neighborhood.
Yeah, it's very safe and secure, and you're staying like, all of us girls stayed in a room, and there was bunk beds, and then we had 2 bathrooms, and I mean, really was just like staying at a hotel.
Yeah,
Almost,
you
know.
have breakfast every morning at 8 a.m. that Delmy and Belinda make for you. They also made us dinner most nights.
Yeah.
And promptly at 8, don't be late.
Yeah.
It's really nice house, no problems there or anything. The only thing is you can't have air conditioning on until it's bedtime because electricity in third world countries is really expensive. But other than that, we stayed in the neighborhood where El Chapo went and hid out during his empire. But it's a really nice neighborhood. There's security guards that follow any cars around that aren't us, pretty much. Even the dump trucks get followed by a security guard on a bicycle with a shotgun. So you're safe. There's no problems there. Anyone else? It's a little bit different. You know, you can't just spit out everything you want to say because they have to think about how to give it back out and wait on a response and stuff like that. But our translators were fantastic. I think there was about 6 of them.
And especially for us, you know, we got like things that we say differently and like, you know, like little phrases and stuff. And so sometimes they would just look at you and like, I don't know how to translate that. And so
Caleb would look back at us and be like, what did you say?
Yeah, so we kind of had to figure out how to reword some stuff sometimes.
Yeah. But they're great
Yeah.
and they're willing to work with you for sure.
Oh, so okay. When me and
I
Leo
know
were
this story.
sitting, yeah, you do. We were sitting on the couch and we were doing a devotion and we were singing and we had just so happened to look down and Lauren was sitting on the ground in front of another couch and out came this like tarantula. I mean, it was the biggest spider I've ever seen. And we all just started screaming.
Well,
and
I was like, Lauren, she had her eyes closed worshiping. I was like,
Yeah.
Lauren, like
she didn't hear. And we were like, we were picking our feet up, kept pointing. And she never seen it, like was never fazed by it. But I mean, it was easily the
I was
biggest
like,
spider
Brad,
I've ever
that's the biggest spider I've ever
Yeah.
seen. And he was like, yeah, that's a little one around
Yeah,
here.
he's
And
like,
I was
"That's
like,
small."
oh my gosh.
Yeah. And you see a lot of lizards.
Yeah, there was a couple lizards that hid out in the bathrooms.
Yeah.
A gecko. Flex, one of the guys from the Oak City team, stepped on a scorpion
Yeah.
with his shoe to kill it. But so those are around, but there's really nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
You just kind of go with it.
They're used to it.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Thank you guys. And we will turn it back over to Corey.
They have mentioned be much in prayer, as they said they're going to be going back in March, so be praying for that trip. If there's anyone in the church that would like to go and be a part of that, just be praying that the Lord would show you the way that He'd have and would want you to go there. So remember then, and I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to have a time of invitation. If you feel the need to come and pray this morning, maybe God's working and dealing in your heart, you just need to come pray. I encourage you to mind the Lord and be obedient to do so. And then after a time of invitation, we're going to have a time if you want to come down and shake the girls' hands, hug their neck, just a time of fellowship with them as well. Okay? So if you would, let's sing a time of invitation. Brother Gary.
The blessed Savior, calling the oppressed, O ye heavy laden, come to me and rest. Come no longer tarry, I your load will bear. Bring me every burden, bring me every care.
appreciate that song. Appreciate the ladies coming and sharing this morning about their time in Honduras. I do want to make mention of, if you would like to sign up to help serve with the football team, we're going to be doing that again September the 9th. Okay, I got 2 dates there. I'm confused on. But anyway, September the 9th, we're going to be doing that again. So if you would like to help with that, please, we encourage you to sign up. The sign-up sheet is on the back, on the court board back there, so you can sign up on your way out. We do have a thank you card from the football team where we were able to go on this past Friday night and serve them dinner. And it was a good time, and we do appreciate all those young men and thank the Lord for them. And be much in prayer for them. Remember them throughout this season as well when you pray. And we appreciate the men, the coaches, the staff that work with them, and that are inspiration, a help, and a light. Mentor them, so remember them as well. All righty, I'm going to ask if our young men will come this morning and to receive our offering plates. I'm going to ask as they come if they will go, all of them, to the back. And then I'm going to ask Zoe and Leah if they'll come up front this morning. So as our young men are going to the back, they'll be back there to receive our morning offering, and then Zoe and Lee will be up front. So we encourage you this morning just to come around here and fellowship with them and love on them. And then once you do that, you'll be dismissed to go. Don't forget, at 2:30 will be the shower for Hannah downstairs in the fellowship hall. It is a girl, so remember that. And be much in prayer for her and Drew. And then don't forget, tonight at 5 o'clock at Big Ridge State Park will be our church picnic. So remember that when you pray, and look forward to everybody that can will come be with us. All righty. Brother Billy, will you dismiss us this morning in prayer?
Fellowship together to worship you, Father, to hear the good news that these young ladies has reached out to people that's in need, and I thank you for their willingness to do that. Thank you for a church that supports missionaries. Thank you, Father, for this church family. Lord, as we are going to separate, just ask you to watch over us and bring us back at the next appointed hour and forgive us of our sins. Bless the offering that we will receive today. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
One more announcement. If the deacons would stay for just a few minutes right here after service, I need to meet with you for just a minute. Thank you.